Hello, hello! Back again. Today we make a video about how to change a single string of your instrument. Okay? It's actually now in this very moment you probably have your instrument with 3 strings, I guess, or maybe 4 and one is somehow broken and is still there. And now you have to take off that string of that specific tag. And then you have to put on a new string. So that means in this very moment you need one more string. I just show you now one string, okay? So we have to decide which one we should take. Help me, which one? This one? It's fine to me. It's this would be the 3rd string, which would be nice. The 4th string is probably the most tricky and picky one, and because it's underneath the 3rd string which comes here, or even the 1st string is a little bit in a not so nice situation. I show you how I do that. To do that, in order that it's a little bit more easier, you need a what was the English word? Eine pinzette, una pinza, and tweezers. Or what I love, since I am a son of a doctor, then I like this one here very much, but some people don't like it. I like this one very much. You can also try it without. It's just a question of your patience. And at the time you take off the string, I think a nice pencil, just the one like mine, you know, like this, is great, because then you can just put a little bit of pencil, graphite, exactly where the string is going in the upper net, and it helps that the string is sliding very well without being damaged. And then certainly what I use is a tuner to tune the instrument. Okay, so now I take here a viola. Okay, so now viola players are very happy that I use a viola. I like this tuner here because actually usually they are like this, but then I have this clamp here. I like it because if somebody in front of me is playing, or some of your colleagues in the quartet or orchestra playing, you just put this on and you can look and they say, oh, okay, it's tuned or not. You don't have to hear, and they can play and make noise what else they want. So we take off now this string. Let's say the 3rd one here is broken, okay? In case now this here would be the 4th string, then I would just loosen up the 3rd, would put the string, the 3rd one, a little bit to the side without taking away the complete tension, and then you turn off the 4th string, okay? But since we decided we make the 3rd string, so then it's later on easier for you to see what I'm doing, you take off now this string. It could be that now the string is not like this, and it's only a tiny piece, so then take your tweezers and take off the whole string, okay? On the back side, you take it out of the tailpiece, okay? If it doesn't get out like this, you go down like this, okay? So then here we have some strings. I don't want to show you here what it is. It's just a string, and strings is another thing. And then just double check. I know it seems like strange, and we know that already. But if you don't double check, most of the times you put the wrong string on it, tune it, and it's broken again. And since they're too expensive, I think it's good to double check which string you put on this one. This video, by the way, is not sponsored by Pirastro, since I'm using also Tomastic, Larsen, and there's so many nice strings out there. So I think the choice of the string is something very personal, okay? So I don't want to say you have to play now with this string, okay? I just take a string in order that I show you that it's a new string and how to put it on. And because a new string, the end is very nice straight, while on a used string it is a little bit like this, and this is reason that most of you, when they put on a used string, have more difficulties, because it's difficult to point into that tiny peg. When it comes to put the string on, I put it certainly here inside, very nicely to the front, and then push up. Okay, that's very nice, that's how it should be. And then I just want to show you again We all know it, but it's always good to know that the peg is on one side small and the other one is a little bit larger. That means it's just like a conus here, and by pushing it in, it's going to be blocked. But all by this being blocked in this way, it doesn't work. So it's important that where there is this small hole, you go into the string, into the peg with the string. Maybe we'll make 1 or 2 turns on the short to smaller size, and then you cross it once and go then to the larger part of the peg, in order that the string is then pulling a little bit the peg inside and not the opposite. Okay, this is a major issue that very often pegs don't turn, because if it's the other way around and the string goes towards the thinner part, it would actually pull out the string a little bit, and this tiny difference of power which comes from one side or from the other one makes a huge difference. Okay, so you always go towards the part where you take the peg in your hands. You end up that it's going from there to the upper nut. Okay, this is also a good time that you now put some peg dope on it. I love the Hill peg dope. If you don't have all that, you can certainly take also soap and chalk. Just remember that soap and chalk has been used in the past, and it is against your expectations. Even this is an old house musician house recipe. It's actually the chalk is somehow grinding your wood, your peg box, the hole in your, and so the peg is consuming itself more the road into. So I would probably prefer some peg dope and not soap and chalk. But if it's just now it's slippery or it doesn't turn at all, soap a little bit is great. Too much would be a disaster. A little bit of chalk is okay. Too much, disaster. Okay? So here in this case, I think if I see that the peg is turning very well like this, I wouldn't do anything. Okay? Never change a winning horse. It's so simple if it's nice. If it's not nice, certainly you can put a little bit, but always better a little bit than too much. With your nice pencil, signed from Edgar, here you go into these notches in the upper nut and you put a little bit. Just try to do good homework, and just where the string is, not that everything is black and then you play and it seems like you were working on ebony or changing the oil of your car. Sometimes I see also people putting here a little bit is also fine, but most of the times then I see that the whole bridge around is all black. Don't exaggerate, just try to make it nice. Then you take your string and put it on. So I would go, some people go now in a way, they think it's very nice if the string does not go out of this one, but it's like this. I think it's a little bit risky, so I would do like at least 1 centimeter. Give it a little bit. And I will show you why. Now I go in here. If I have difficulties with my fingers, I use this one and I take it out from the very last end here, zig, especially the last peg, or if it's underneath with this one, with these tweezers, it's very easy. And then you just pull up the string. First you go towards the thinner end of the peg, okay? And then you cross it and you go towards the larger, and then I pull up the string in this way, okay? Once you have it up, it won't stay like this, because the strings still have to get into its final position. Now, it's a big issue for string makers because they know the problem. Musicians want strings immediately to stay in tune, but now for logical reasons it isn't that easy. Okay, so have a little bit of patience, okay? Give them at least a few hours, okay? And never tune it higher than it should be. That's something I made myself in front of a string maker. Oh my god. I I can still remember the whole thing. And you just wait a little bit. Once you are done with your tuning and you see how your pegs are standing, then let's say the next day, if it's one string, you could actually re-put the string in a different way into the peg in order that the peg is standing in the right position. And you will see at a certain point it stays in tune and the peg stands in a very nice position. The string is easier to tune if the peg is standing in a perfect position. Let me know your comment if it's also in your case like this. Another thing which you really have to be aware of is that the bridge, without looking now, we didn't look, I didn't also look, I just pulled up the string, right? This string is pushing in one direction, so this tiny bridge is going towards the front. If you change now more than one string, your position of the bridge might change and comes to the front. In order to avoid that, go there, put your instrument on your lap like this with your fingers, and then you push it a little bit back. Maybe you lift up the string, and then the string is already more happy about that one. And then retune again. So I would not now invest too much time in this peg to get it in the right position. Get at least one day all tuned nicely, okay? Before you go to sleep, tune it the last time, okay? I hope there is something interesting now for you here at home, and you could learn something how you could do that. If you have some questions, leave a comment down below, okay? Very good, see you next time. Subscribe, tell your friends, I'm always here. Bye bye.